one of the best places to get a photo of a K2 telephone box. I absolutely, I absolutely love K2 telephone boxes, designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. Welcome everyone. This is Master's Joke. Also Master's Joke 75 on Instagram. Welcome to London Filming Locations Part 1. I call it Part 1 because London is so vast. You're not going to do a London filming locations in one day. There's just too much to film. But here I am at the Hayes Galleria in London. It's just literally next to HMS Belfast. Originally a warehouse and wharf for the Port of London, and it's a Grade 2 listed structure named after Alexander Hay. I've got to be honest, it's not. I only come here for the phone boxes because they're in such good condition. It's not a great place. It's got a Starbucks. I think it's got a Next. I wouldn't go out of my way to come here, but it's on the way to my destination, which is Tower Bridge. Absolutely love London. You know, I was born in London. I used to come here as a kid with my dad, but it's just full of so many filming locations for both movies and television. Talking of television, the HMS Belfast was actually used in Only Fools and Horses. Diamonds Are Forever, 1982. I think Del's on there with her kid, and Heather takes a photo of him. So I thought I'd put that in there. HMS Belfast launched on St Patrick's Day, 1938, and it's been a museum ship since 1971. I've never been on it, but I definitely need to check it out. So this is Butler's Wharf, and this road is where they filmed one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes, Resurrection of the Daleks. This is like where the opening scene is, where you see the where you see the street with the bridges up above. Then you see the aliens escaping, and then the two police officers with machine guns. Honestly, I was so scared. This is, what's it, 1984 this was. I was so scared that I couldn't actually watch it. Honestly, I couldn't watch it at all. But I mean, this location was also used for another film that I loved back in the 80s, Young Sherlock Holmes. Not a lot of people talk about that film anymore, but that street was used for Young Sherlock Holmes. But then it was also used for Bridget Jones' Diary. This actually location here, when she's with Hugh Grant. Never seen the film. I've got no interest in seeing the film, but I thought I'd put it in there because I'm sure some people do love Bridget Jones. So that's the Tower Hotel, just to the left. I've stayed there a few times, but one of the reasons that I wanted to stay there was because you could see it in the background when Tegan was escaping from the Daleks in Resurrection of the Daleks, and I wanted to stay there. My wife took me there, and this is where the TARDIS lands back in Resurrection of the Daleks 1984, and I've just loved this area since watching that episode. It is. I mean, London has got some beautiful places. I mean, you could say this is very touristy. There's loads of restaurants and places to drink, bars and things like that, but I absolutely love London. I mean, it's got its good and bad parts, but I absolutely love this. I mean, I know it's south of the river, so you've got to be very careful. But it's just a great place to come. But like a lot of people, they'll see Tower Bridge and they'll think of like recent filming locations like Spider-Man: Far From Home, like 2019. I watched the film. It was all right. It was okay. I preferred. I'll be honest. It probably wasn't a great film, but I preferred the latest film, where the three Spider-Men were together, because it's all about nostalgia with me. I mean, when I see Tower Bridge, it doesn't remind me of Spider-Man. It reminds me of films like The Long Good Friday, 1980, Harold Shand, and also like Biggles' Adventures in Time. I mean, I love those films. Absolutely love them. I think Biggles has now got a cult following, but it's, you know, you look on YouTube, there's not much about Biggles on there. Not many. I don't know, do people even remember it? I remember watching it on Blue Peter, the making of it. And I thought, I really want to see this. I don't think I watched it in the cinema. I think I saw it on video. I think I rented it from the shop. And I absolutely love Biggles Adventures in Time. I think it's a great film. But, each to their own, I suppose. But then also you've got Day of the Doctor. That was filmed at Tower Bridge as well. In Biggles, this is where he comes out... Biggles and Jim Ferguson, because they're looking for his commanding officer Peter Cushing, and this is where although the interior shots weren't filmed in Tower Bridge, this is where Peter Cushing lives, actually in the bridge, and this is the door that they go in. So I know no one's interested in Biggles. I love the film. I absolutely love the film, and so this is where. Biggles and Jim Ferguson go to find Peter Cushing. But yeah, there's too many films to mention really that were filmed at Tower Bridge and the surrounding areas. But definitely Harold Shand and the Long Good Friday. I absolutely love that. Filmed in and around London, Tower Bridge, Butler's Wharf, and also his yacht was docked just beyond St Catherine's Dock, and that is just a wonderful film, especially the ending. It's got to be one of the best endings of a film ever. You don't get many gangsters who mess with the IRA, but honestly, an absolutely brilliant film. And I must go up there to Tower Bridge, because I know you can go on the walkways. I lived in London for the majority of my life, like growing up, and I never went up there to Tower Bridge. But definitely, I'm going to make an effort this year, and I'm making a little list of places I'm going to go. But the Tower Hotel, another reason I wanted to stay there is because they filmed Biggles in there as well, and like the hotel rooms with the windows, it's very much like a ship. And as I said, I always wanted to stay there. I think I've stayed there 4 times now. And my wife, as a surprise, she booked it. Honestly, it's really, really good there. And St Catherine's Dock, I used to come here as a kid with my mum and dad and my brothers. And that's got loads of history. And there must be countless movies and films and TV productions that have been filmed there over the years. But that's a really nice. It's a nice place. It's very quiet and relaxing. There's loads of restaurants again and bars and places. But St Catherine's Dock. There's a place I did fancy going to, the Dickens Inn, because I like Charles Dickens. But the menu's so expensive, so I just didn't bother. But going through here, this is a magical television location, and this is where they filmed the Talons of Weng-Chiang, Doctor Who, and this would have been, was it 1977, and this is the entrance to the sewers where the Doctor and Leela go hunting for. I think they go hunting for the giant rat. And it's just here under this grate is where they filmed the Talons of Weng-Chiang. I think it's amazing. It's amazing that it's still there, but it's amazing that it's just it's so accessible, because they did a lot of the filming for the Talons of Weng-Chiang around Shad Thames and I'll go to a few more areas. I think this place on the left used to be like a knight's jousting dinner event place or something, because I haven't been here for a while, but I think it's just closed down now. But yeah, there's so many great places in London to visit. I don't care. I like the touristy places, but I especially love this area, Tower Bridge. And Tower of London, and I think it's the history that goes with it. London is just so full of history, not just for movies and television. But the ancient history of the city, with the Saxon and Roman heritage, it's just amazing. These I'm not sure if it's the exact canons, but on one of the occasions that my dad took us all up here, because we used to drive here. We used to drive to Tower Bridge. I was playing around on the cannons with my brothers, and I think some other kids as well. And I think there was more cannons. So it's probably not these exact cannons, but it was in this area, this exact location. Well, I remember standing on top of the cannon, and it was another wet day, like it was when I filmed this. And I remember just my feet going. I just slipped off the cannon, banged my head on the actual on the actual cannon itself, and there was blood everywhere. And I ended up in Guy's Hospital having stitches. And that was in the that must have been like the mid-80s. And I've got the scar. I've still got the scar to prove it. But I thought I'd share that with you. So I doubt it is the same cannons, because I'm sure there was more. I'm sure there was like about 8 cannons there, or possibly more. But they probably moved them because of the amount of injuries that took place. And I don't think you're allowed to play in them anymore. But that was definitely a day that I didn't forget. And I've got a massive scar on my eye just to remind me. But yeah, honestly, Tower Bridge, Tower of London, great places to go to. And also don't forget the Tower of London was used in Doctor Who for Day of the Doctor. And also the Shard. The Shard was used the Shard was used in the Matt Smith episode. What was it? Was it the Bells of St. John? I think it was. And the weird thing about that episode was that when the TARDIS lands and they come out on the motorbike near Westminster Bridge, just near Big Ben in the background. I was in London, sat on a bench having a Starbucks, just chilling out. And literally the day after I was in London, there's Traitors Gate. The day after, I looked in the papers, and the Doctor Who team were there, literally in exactly the same spot I was. The TARDIS literally landed where I was sat on my bench. I couldn't believe it. I always miss out on Doctor Who because it's happened before, but I was gutted. I couldn't believe it. 1 minute you're there at Westminster Bridge. The next minute, the following day, the TARDIS is there. I mean, you couldn't make it up. But I'm sure it was called the Bells of St. John with Matt Smith. But yeah, the Tower of London, I've been there many times with the school. I think I took my son a few years ago when we stayed at the. I think we stayed at the Tower Hotel, and I took pictures of these lions just to show my wife because we didn't make it to Senegal for our safari. So I thought I'd just film this just to show what we're missing. So literally next door to the Tower of London, you've got the All Hallows by the Tower Church. Now this church, I mean, as far as I'm aware, nothing was actually filmed there. But this church means a lot to me. I mean, I did mention that I'd stayed at the Tower Hotel with my wife, but on one of the occasions, this was back in 2012, after our baby daughter died. Christmas was going to be hard. So we decided to stay at the Tower Hotel for Christmas, booked Christmas dinner, just do something completely different. And on the Christmas morning, we decided the night before, but we went to the All Hallows Church for the Christmas morning service. And I got to say, it was very, very emotional. And it is a beautiful. I mean, it's a really, really beautiful church. And I got to say, everyone was so lovely. I mean, it was all like locals. But we actually got invited to stay for Christmas dinner. And I got to be honest, we declined because we had Christmas dinner booked for that evening at the Tower Hotel. And I got to say, their dinner smelt better, and I'm sure it was a lot better than the Tower Hotel. Because and I regret it. I wish we had stayed. For dinner. But this church does mean a lot to me. And I remember sitting there. It was emotional for obvious reasons. But I remember sitting there and seeing the palm tree just waving in the wind through the stained glass window. And that's that's one of the memories. But what I like about this church is that you can also go in the crypt. It's like a museum downstairs. Well, I say downstairs, in the crypt underneath the church. And they've got this. This is like a Roman. It's like a Roman pavement, and this was actually found during renovations in like 1926. I think it's amazing because it's just London life from years ago. It's just I think the place is a hidden gem in London, and I absolutely love it. To be honest, I hadn't been here since probably 2013 because they actually agreed that we could get married there. So we were going to get married. The crypt is great. Definitely check it out. But we were going to get married here. We got permission to get married at this church. And then things get complicated, and then family politics, and then you just think, whatever. And we ended up getting married in Florida in secret with my son as my best man. So just the three of us. Absolutely perfect. Highly recommended. But yeah, I mean, going back to the All Hallows Church, I mean, this was founded in like 675 AD, and this is like 400 years before the Tower of London. So this proper like history. I mean, it was badly damaged in like I think it was in like 1650, and that was from like an explosion from like a nearby warehouse which contained gunpowder. That sounds very familiar. And that took down the tower. So the tower that's there now isn't the same tower that was originally there. So they did rebuild the tower, and it was from that very tower which is there now, which is where the famous Samuel Pepys and also Admiral Penn. I mean, they were good friends. And that's where they watched the Fire of London begin in 1666, because Pudding Lane is literally just down the road, which is where I'm going to be going next. But this place is just full of history. So no TV or film locations with this church, but the place does mean a lot to me. I mean, it's got emotional ties for me. But don't forget, Admiral Penn, his son, William Penn, was the founder of Pennsylvania in the United States of America. So, and he was actually baptized in this church in 1644. So, so it would have been a good place to get married, because usually they wouldn't marry you if you're not a local. But my wife explained the situation, and they were happy for us to get married there, and it would have been great. But you know what families are like. But also another famous person, also connected to America, who was married in this church. I don't know if you can see the palm tree, just to the right hand side. But another famous person, John Quincy Adams. He got married here to Louisa Catherine Adams, and that was in 1797. And he was the 6th president of the United States of America. So, there's my there's my connection to America. Talking of America, on a positive note, my ban is over. Apparently, from the 11th of May, I'll be allowed back. But that's another story. But definitely, if you're in London, you've got to check out this church. It's a beautiful church, and it's a beautiful community, and it's so, honestly, it was so nice to be invited, like the other locals, for the people who didn't have anywhere else to go or any family, to be invited for a meal at that church. I mean, I think people do forget about community, especially in the big cities like London, and you've got to remember that these communities do still exist. So, yeah, great place, and as I said, very, very, very emotional. I mean, a lot of this church was destroyed during the Blitz and then rebuilt. But it's good that the tower is still there, and it's got those associations and connections to the Great Fire in 1666. I absolutely love London. I absolutely love it. It's just a brilliant place, and it's not. I mean, it's a famous church, and also it's the oldest church in the City of London. So look at the rain. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. But obviously in London, you know the drill. I mean, because I've stayed here quite, probably, I think 4 times. I do know this area really well, and obviously I used to come here as a kid. But you know the drill. It's time to get something to eat. London can be expensive. There's loads of places to eat, but Bodines. I've been there a few times, and they do sell. They were one of the first places who sold Samuel Adams on draft. But to the left of Bodines, that is another hidden gem of London. So this is the main entrance to the old Mark Lane tube station, which was opened in 1911 and then renamed Tower Hill in 1946. And you can actually still hear the trains down there. I'd love to go down there. I would absolutely love to go down there. Closed in 1967, but it does contain the old platforms and posters, and there's like a Jameson whiskey sign. I mean, honestly, I've seen it on YouTube. I've read about it, but I'd love to go down to this old Tower Hill station. And it's great that it's still there. I think the buildings were called the Mark Lane Station building, so it's great that it is still there. But I would love to go down there. There's rooms down there. There's toilets. I think one of the problems they had was with capacity, which is one of the reasons why it was closed. But as I said, it's time for spoons. So I went to the Liberty Bounds, which is just further down from the trains from the tube station, or the abandoned tube station, and Bodines. Decided not to have a full English. I've been here a few times before. I went for the beef madras curry. I've got to say it was very nice. Very quick service. I think. I've been in Spoons and it's taken ages for the food to come out. I think it took 25 minutes for our food to come to our table. Honestly, very, very tasty. I mean, if you want a proper curry, you got to go to Brick Lane in the East End. But this was nice, inexpensive, and highly recommended. No mango chutney, but that's the only negative, and that seems to happen a lot with Spoons. They always run out of the mango chutney. But lovely meal. And after that, let's go and let's go and see where the Great Fire of London started. So I've been here many times. I've taken my son here, Pudding Lane, and this is the monument. Me and my son know what really happened. We know how the Great Fire of London started in 1666, but we're not allowed to say. But again, this is another place that is worth paying a visit. Now, I've not been up to the. It's only like a £5 to go up to the top of the monument. Very very wet day, and as I think I've mentioned on previous videos, at this point my Converse are soaked, so it's probably not the best thing to go walking up to the top of the monument. But I went up here with my cousin, probably back in the 90s, I'd say, and it's really good up there. And I remember watching the Blue Peter. I used to love Blue Peter, but where they were redoing the gold leaf on top of it. Designed by Christopher Wren, it's got 311 steps. It was completed in 1677 and is 202 foot tall. And apparently, if you knocked it over, the reason it's 202 foot tall, if you knocked it over, that is the distance to where the Great Fire of London started, who historians say happened in Thomas Farriner's bakery on the 2nd of September. Me and my son know different. We know it was the bakers, but we know different. But yeah, I mean the fire. It started on the 2nd of September, ended the 5th of September. Apparently historians say 6 people died. But the actual monument 6 people actually have jumped off there in the past. You can't actually jump off there now because there's no way of being able to jump off there. But I think one person fell as well. So 7 people died from the monument and 6 people died in the Great Fire of London. But a lot of people think that London Bridge is still in the same place as when it was originally built, but it's not. This church here is the actual original, or leads up to the original entrance of London Bridge. Definitely worth checking out. So this is St Magnus the Martyr Church, and it's on Lower Thames Street. And there are actually remains of the original London Bridge in the church courtyard. And of course, the second London Bridge, which was built in the 1830s, is now in Arizona. So I don't really think that I can consider Pudding Lane as a Doctor Who filming location from Peter Davison's The Visitation. Although the Great Fire of London 1666 was explained in that episode. So I think I'm pushing my luck with that one. So back over London Bridge. Let's get back to some filming locations. Staying on the subject of Doctor Who, we're back in Talons of Wing Chiang. Now these metal stripes, this kind of hairbend corner, that is the only part of the building that still remains. But that was actually seen in Doctor Who: The Talons of Wing Chiang when Lee San Chang's carriage rides past. I mean, I'm not going to say that I knew all this. Full credit goes to Dalek 6388. Check him out on YouTube. Honestly, his Doctor Who YouTube channel is amazing. If you love Daleks and you love Dalek Invasion of Earth and the Dalek movies, honestly, check it out. But so I'm not going to take credit for that. But some of the filming locations I do know. I mean, this is Winchester Palace. This is like an old medieval building built in the early 13th century. And it used to be home to the bishops of Winchester. It's just ruins now, and it was destroyed in a fire in 1814. But across from Winchester Palace, this is the TARDIS landing site from the Talons of Wing Chiang. And again, full credit to Dalek 6388, because I had no idea. I mean, I've been here many times. I had no idea that this is the Dalek landing site, and I do get very excited. Similar to Butler's Wharf, where the TARDIS landing site for Resurrection of the Daleks is. But also, which is really exciting, one of my favourite films of all time, American Werewolf in London. This is the actual place where David gets shot by the police at the end of the movie, where his girlfriend Jenny Agutter, she says, "David, I love you," and then he's about to pounce on her as a werewolf. He gets shot, and then you just see his body there, just lying in the street, with bullet holes in him. And then next thing you hear is Blue Moon and the credits. So that is brilliant. I've always known that was the location in American Werewolf in London. And I just think it's brilliant. I don't know what it is, but when I go to a movie location, I don't know. I just love it. I love movie locations. I don't care. I don't care what movie it is. Although, as I've said, I'm not a fan of Bridget Jones. And this is another place on my list. This is Clink Street. This is the Clink Prison. I need to check out this place. This is going on my list. I'm going to go back here in the summer when it's not as wet. But this actual again was used in the Talons of Wen Chiang. A lot of people confuse this area here under the bridge for where David gets killed in American Werewolf in London, which isn't the case at all. But the Clink Prison, this area here, this is where Mr. Buller gets, in the Talons of Wen Chiang, he gets jumped by Mr. Sin and the other Chinaman, and the Doctor and Leela go to his assistants, and then I think Leela has a fight, and then she says about the watch out for the blue guards. Honestly, I love the Talons all. Wen Chai-an. What's it? Opium, good for pain. I remember that bit. I need to watch it again. What? But didn't I'm sure Lee San Chang. I'm sure he got his leg bitten off by the giant rat. I'll have to check it again. Here's another Doctor Who filming location. So this is the Shakespeare Globe Theatre, and this was used for David Tennant's 2007 episode, The Shakespeare Code. Fun fact, it was built 750 feet away from the original Shakespeare Globe Theatre. But on the Millennium Bridge now, crossing back over towards St Paul's Cathedral. Now, a lot of people say that this reminds them of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Never seen it. I've never seen Well, I'll tell a lie. I did watch Harry Potter with an ex-girlfriend when it first came out on VHS. It was the first one. She loved it, read all the books. It got to a bit where there was a snake, a talking snake in the first film. I fell asleep. I never went back to it. And then you've got the famous St Paul's Cathedral, used in the Patrick Troughton Doctor Who episode, The Invasion, in 1968 with the Cybermen. That famous scene of the Cybermen coming down the steps, which are no longer there. But also, more recently, used in Peter Capaldi's 2014 Cyberman episode, Dark Water. St Paul's Cathedral, just like Tower Bridge, used in countless movie and TV productions. Absolutely fantastic places. London is beautiful. Definitely check it out. I'm now soaked through. Battery's running low. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out my London filming locations part 2. I've got no idea when I'm going to make that, but that's another project that I'm working on, as well as coming soon, the filming locations of The World's End, which was filmed in Hertfordshire. So that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.